You are now listening to or watching the It Takes All Kinds podcast.
Yeah, and if you aren't, you can head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen to us now. Or head on over to Drib on YouTube and watch the video version as well.
And if you'd like to stay up to date on when we're releasing a new episode or any other fun information about the podcast, you can give us a follow on Instagram at It Takes All Kinds Podcast and on Twitter at ITAK Podcast. That's ITAK Podcast.
Without saying much else, we hope you enjoy this episode.
Wrong.
Hello, I'm Mr. Bones.
We were having a little Simpsons talk earlier.
Yeah, big topic here on the podcast is the Simpsons recurring episodes weekly on Fridays about the Simpsons.
And speaking of big things, big announcement today. This is going to be an all Simpsons podcast now. It's just about this show.
Springfield show.
Yes, it's called the
Springfield show.
Springfield Gang. The Gilmore's gang. Girls gang. The girl
So
gang.
Today is Tuesday, March 21st. This is the It Takes All Kinds podcast, episode 107. You will be hearing this on Friday, March 24th.
And hopefully by the time you're hearing this, President Trump has been arrested.
Former President Trump.
Former President Trump. Maybe in your world, Gavin, he's the former. And speaking of, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Trump's arrest very briefly. Gavin's actually going to be enlightening.
I watched
how
it.
you say it?
Yeah.
He's going to be enlightening me about that because I do know about it, but I don't know the specifics. I know it has to do with storming David, and that's really it. So I'm excited to hear more about that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the World Baseball Classic Championship.
World Baseball Classic Championship. Yeah.
It's a classic championship.
Yeah,
that we, mostly Gavin, just got done watching at my house.
We begged and pleaded.
They're like, Carson, we don't
Please, we don't have anyone to watch it.
We don't have a TV. We're poor.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking, finally talking about the iDubbbz interview on Anthony Padilla's podcast. We were going to talk about that last week, so it's kind of old news, but I'm excited to talk about it. And then just a little bit of catching up, and also Next Door Drama,
taste test,
what you listen to, and a taste test. I almost forgot about that for the second time. Most importantly, Gavin, we're back in the same room.
Yeah.
We're back in the saddle again.
It's crazy because I went back to work last night, and they're like, "Where have you been?" And I looked at the schedule. And I realized I hadn't been there in a month.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because
how is that?
Just because I work every other weekend. So if I'm off the weekend that I usually work, then I'm off for like 3 weeks. So I was last worked like February 27th or something like that.
Damn,
it's been 3 weeks. Yeah,
that seems so long ago.
Yeah, so it's been 3 weeks since I last worked. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I had COVID and it sucked, but I felt good about like the third day. So.
And speaking of, there's a GoFundMe for Gavin in the description. Please go check that out.
Yep.
But you're feeling much better.
Yep.
I saw you on Sunday, which we'll talk about momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have gave me $100, I wouldn't have been able to tell you if you had COVID unless I had known previously.
Yeah.
Because you look fine. You sounded great. You sounded fine. I'm starting to think that this virus is made up. But last week,
well made up.
The reason, I don't even know if we mentioned this or not, but the reason why we did on Zoom, even though I think it was day 5 when it was Wednesday.
It was actually, that was like day 8.
Oh yeah, because it was a week
or
that
day
you
7.
started feeling symptoms.
It was day 7. Yeah, it was day 6, I think. No, wait, that's 7. Yeah, 7.
And then the day before, the reason why we were on Zoom is because the day before you took a test and it was still faintly positive.
Yeah.
But then you took one Thursday and it was like clear as day,
clear.
negative.
Yeah. So
weird.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
And there's a lot of, I'm like a part-time worker at my job, and like doing family medical leave of absence is pain in the ass. Even though because I didn't have the hours, so they were like, it's not FMLA leave, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I was like, it's still a pain in the ass because I had to. The email said to call them, so I'm like, I'm gonna do it just in case, like if they give me any little bit of. Because I only work every the weekend, so it's like that was my only source of income. So I'll just take a hit this month, I guess.
And you would think that they would, have a different priorities. I don't think is the word I'm looking for, but I'm gonna say priorities for full-time students.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's
because obviously you're a full-time student. You don't have a full-time job.
Yeah,
that's
the hard part is that I think we had just redone the way that our like HR department works. So now we have like all of our stuff in one app called like Workday, and they classified me as a PRN, not like part-time.
Oh,
so it's like, which is fine, but it's because like even with part-time you don't even get that many benefits, so it's whatever. But anyway. So
that happened.
That happened, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun having COVID.
Any brain fog?
Actually, no. It almost seems like the opposite effect. I'm like
enlightened.
Yeah, I'm back. You know, I felt after I was in public for the first time in like a week, basically. I was like, okay, I feel like normal again. Mm-hmm. Granted, maybe I didn't do that good on the exam that I had to take on Wednesday, but I was like, I still felt like generally just kind of better, rather than like it was almost like having 16 hours of sleep for like 4 days in a row was like not a bad thing, right. Like it like caught me up, and I was like able to get my shit together, and I like did really well on the other stuff that I had to do that week. So that this past week, and I'm on spring break this week, so
I
keep very, very happy, and I spent
a lot of time.
Spent a lot of time this weekend playing a video game called Valheim. Really, it's like Minecraft, but like the logs actually fall over, and you actually have to like cook the meal over like over a fire with like the like it rotates and stuff like that.
Yeah,
or you hang it, and like you actually have to cook the food, and like you have to actually like mix the bronze or like mix tin and copper to make bronze, all that stuff like that.
Is it blocky like Minecraft?
No, it's not blocky. It's like it's just like
is
shitty.
It 2D like Terraria?
No, it's like 3D, but it's like
Roblox.
It's like 64-bit. Like it's not like it's not like HD. It has like an art style to it.
It's like the first.
It's like
GTA
11
for DS.
Yeah, it's like polygonal. I'll say that it's polygonal.
Okay,
it's
like
Tomb
like
Raider.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
There you go.
Kind of has that like animation style. That's on purpose. It's not
right.
Like I obviously could make something better, but
do they have big pointy boobs like Tomb Raider?
Yep.
I think I'm gonna have to get into that game.
No, actually, it's a lot of fun. But I was playing a ton of it this weekend. Now I'm playing Red Dead Redemption. So
nice.
Yeah. No, enjoying my week off. Yeah. No, that's not that. That's Fallout New Vegas.
See, I don't know. I don't know anything.
Red
Dead Redemption.
Dutch, I got TB. I got TB, Dutch.
That's what he says?
Yeah.
I know Red Dead
Arthur,
Redemption.
what are you talking about?
That's one of, or I should say was one, because I don't think he's played it in a while. That was one of my favorite games to watch Germa play.
Red Dead?
Yeah, because he would just like do crazy shit with the horses and like run them off of cliffs
and
stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, it was just the funniest shit. I don't know anything about the game, but like, I just remember like that was one of those really fun games to watch him play.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of fun to play.
But I thought it was the bastard, and I was wrong.
It's fun. Like, I also realized, like, after playing Valheim, I realized how much I like collecting quote-unquote knowledge in the game. So I just, like, I would just literally horse around the map and just, like, try to find new animals I haven't discovered yet. And, like, you can discover and, like, study animals and, like, take notes on and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to walk around the entire map and try to hunt animals for fun.
Hey,
that's what I did for like all the other night. I didn't even play a single fucking mission. I just walked around the map.
Is there like a
there's a main story. There's a plot.
But is there also like a in Minecraft where you can kind of just fuck around and do whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like free. It's like open world.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, open world is very do whatever you want. So
I don't know these damn video game terms.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we have another ad read this week? Do you mind if I play it?
Yeah.
All right, here it is. Oh wait. Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Yeah. This should be it.
First, we want to thank Firehouse Stores for not only sponsoring our trivia, but being our OG sponsor.
They are.
And if you haven't seen or heard of Firehouse Stores, go to their website. Find them on Facebook, Firehouse Stores.
You probably have seen their fleet of red trucks out in the community. Very noticeable.
Oh, that was it. I thought it was the whole thing. That was the other. That was part 2.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, just a little ad read.
Just a little ad read. That came from like a weird YouTube search I just looked up. We were just up late texting, and I was like, I'm just gonna look this up on YouTube. I realized because I think
I don't even remember.
it was like somebody hits big at the casino. It was just like, let's see what fucking comes up. Because Johnny was telling me that's how he finds all those weird fucking videos. Like just looking up, just like Johnny, like he found like that weird video where like the guy smokes cigarettes or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, and I found that one video of the guy collecting plastic chairs, like just looking up random shit on YouTube. Look up sentences on YouTube, you get the weirdest shit.
I if I had more time to do that, I would, because I do really enjoy it. Like when I'm able to do that for like an office hours thing, I really enjoy, like, especially finding like stupid, horrible covers of songs.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of edits, I'll usually put like a
bad,
terrible cover of a song.
cover, yeah.
Which I didn't. I was not the first one.
You weren't you weren't the originator.
No. I think it was probably either Chris or maybe even before that Vic was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I did not start doing it. But as soon as I saw that or heard that, I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do that all the time."
Yeah.
And now I just love finding terrible covers by.
And I didn't know you had to do that. Whenever you like pulled up the bad like Japanese Beatles cover band.
The Beatles.
Yeah,
That's what they call themselves.
I was like, wow, this is fucking horrible. I thought you just like looked this up on your own time. I didn't. Oh, you did technically, but on your own free will kind of thing. But I was like, okay, now that I know that you had to do that for your job, I'm like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense.
Great, man. I
have
the
bad.
Worst job in the world.
Yeah. I have to look up shitty music.
I have to look at these horrible things that make me laugh.
I hate them.
I hate having to laugh for my damn job.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Somebody save me.
So on Sunday.
Let's talk about.
Let's just talk about that.
Let's just talk.
Let's just chat.
Can we just do that?
Can we just chat for a little bit?
As we mentioned on the last episode, and we watched the trailer for it, now we can fully be transparent. All Marvel's letting us talk about it. We've been making the rounds.
We were on an NDA, you know.
We're going to everything. We're going to.
And we also named the movie incorrectly.
Dude, I re-listened to it. Just straight up said probably never.
Really, it was maybe never.
I do not know how I did that.
On Slippery Joe Films.
Slippery Joe Namath.
Yeah. Shout out Joe Namath. We
it's
were
called
at the,
Maybe Never.
Yeah, Maybe Never. We were at the world premiere, world red carpet. We were the hosts.
That was the exclusive that we weren't saying. Is that I don't know if we were supposed to.
I didn't realize like how much of a big how much we contribute to the story of this. I didn't realize.
I didn't know. Well, I mean, like
after watching the movie, I can say that was something I was not expecting was to be heavily involved in.
Yeah, we're like a main plot point.
Yeah,
like in a weird
I realized that. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, like the way it was explained to us, I was like,
we're just gonna be like an ancillary character. We're like a tertiary, just very out, like just a couple steps away from the main plot. Kind of like, oh, this is something funny that he does in his spare, like cool thing that he does in his spare time or whatever.
And a little bit of, and that's the thing I was gonna say. A little bit of spoilers from here on out. Before we go any further, if you want to watch this film, Maybe Never.
Yeah, on Slippery Joe Films.
I'm
sorry, Slippery Joe Productions, right?
Slippery Joe Films. You were right. The first one. I know that for sure.
Slippery Joe Films. Yeah.
It's going to be linked in the description. Please go watch it. It was made by a group of very cool and very fun people, friends of ours.
Friends of the show.
Brendan, who was on, is a big part of it. A big part of Slippery Joe Films. I'm not going to name everybody, because I think I can name everybody.
Mama Tahiti was involved.
But if I miss somebody, I'm going to feel bad. So I'm going to get called out again. So I'm just gonna say everybody who worked on it was awesome. Go watch that in the description. I will also go ahead and link the live stream, which we'll also talk about in a minute. I'm just giving this all away now. If you want to go watch it and don't want to have it spoiled, that Gavin and I hosted of the premiere. Skip to about 30 minutes in.
Well, actually, I think they cut it down finally.
Did they?
Yeah, they cut it down. If you go to the live section of Slippery Joe Films, it's 29 minutes and 55 seconds.
Oh, perfect.
So,
well, yeah, and maybe it'll be kind of synced up a little bit better. Yeah. I don't know what they were able to do with it. It's a little rough, but that's okay. You know, it was their first time getting a bigger stream than the first one set up.
Yeah.
It was still a lot of fun either way. There's still great bits and great laughs that we had in it that we'll talk about in a minute. But yes, spoilers from here on out. Go watch those first before we talk about this. But yes, back to the film. I was in the same boat as you. I had assumed that, like, first of all, Paul or Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
What I would I want to say the main. He's not the main character, but he's the first person you see, so you feel like he should be. Doesn't say anything until like the end.
Yeah.
Which I expected him to like say a lot more. Like the way that like Brendan explained it to us, I was like, oh, okay, like we're just kind of like that's just how he finds out about us because of us.
Right.
But then it was like, oh no, like he finds out about it from us, and then we tell everything about it.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like I was happy about it, but like I'm almost kind of glad he didn't tell me that or tell us that.
Yeah.
Because then I think I would have
just went off the fucking rails.
Yeah, because I think I would have like overthought it.
Yeah.
But yeah, about a month ago, we had talked about that we recorded something before the show, and that was what we had recorded.
And they put all of it in there. Technically, actually, like all of the recording in there at some point.
And I
we showed up in the credits.
Yeah, I like the credit roll where it ends on us like getting out of character and laughing about
telling our story about New Zealand radio
radio
tower.
Tour. Yeah,
radio tour.
We wanted to another exclusive is that we wanted to be named. I was going to be named David Knight.
Yeah, and
Gavin was going to be named New Zealand Radio Tour.
We don't know why it just came up.
Yeah, we were. It was because you were searching up because we were trying to figure out what. Like literally like an hour before we're going to record this, trying to figure out what our fake paranormal podcast name was going to be. So Gavin was doing like a fake band name generator thing.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
And at one point, it was something Scary Stories with David Knight showed up. And we were laughing. We were laughing a lot about a lot of them. And then one of them was New Zealand Radio Tour. And so somehow I became David Knight, and then I don't remember who said that your name was New Zealand Radio Tour, but then somehow that just became the bit that we kept laughing about.
I'm glad that also we played like, lack of a better word, sexed up characters on the premiere, on the red carpet premiere. We were just like we just played ourselves but bigger.
Right. I have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, like literally all of that is, not obviously not copying anything word for word, but like huge inspiration from On Cinema. I mean, that's kind of like we were playing like a Tim and Greg style, but we were both playing Tim because Tim is like the shitty drunken asshole who has no fucking life on Cinema, and like that was kind of like. We were both that character together, but separately. And that was the other thing, too, is like, so if you haven't watched it or seen the pictures I posted, like, we dressed the same. We both had tuxedo T-shirts and jackets
from Goodwill.
And
I put on two because I was just cold, but it also looked good.
And then Gavin had a very big jacket on.
I had a very big jacket on, and I ended up having, like, homeless man gloves.
Which was great, too. And then we were smoking my fake cigarettes. Well, they're real, but they're tobacco and nicotine free. They're like used on movie sets. And then we also had shooters, which didn't come up as much as they should have. I didn't realize that we were at the end until Brendan was like,
"Oh yeah, we're done.
We're done. Pull out the cigarettes." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll get him out in a second." And then I was like, "Oh no, this is it! Like we need to get him out now." But yeah, so we were just playing like shitty hosts that were idiots. And it was for
a lot of fun.
The live stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, go watch both of those. They were a lot of fun. Film turned out great. Like Gavin said, happy that we were a bigger part of it than we were expecting.
Yeah.
Happy that our ads came to life within the film.
Yeah.
And then also during the live stream, they got to come up. I don't know if they
did play it. They put them up over us talking.
We got to see the pictures.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I didn't see that part in the stream. So because that was the thing. I was like, oh, I really hope people got to see.
Yeah. No, they put it up there.
Oh yeah, because didn't we have to do the ad read again?
Yeah.
Because they didn't put the other one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because we had to go back to Bigwigs again. But yeah, Bigwigs and Derek Tarpin's Sticky Nails were two great ads that I'll say I came up with them.
Yeah, you came up with them. I did not.
I'll say we as a collective, to be nice, to be fair to Gavin.
I was gonna come up with some fucking like sex drug or something. I'm not even gonna lie.
But listen, man, just because I came up with it doesn't mean that you didn't add so much more to it.
Sure, whatever.
But you did. I mean, it's just true. Yeah, just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just so, and like, again, like, even if none of that was recorded or live streamed, it would have still.
It still would have been a lot of fun to do.
Exactly. It was just great. But yeah, that was our Sunday. Again, put both links in the description. Go watch them both. Maybe start with the live stream first and then watch the film. I think that would kind of be the order that would make sense. Or just watch whatever one you want. Why don't we... Let's go ahead and... You want to jump right into this iDubbbz thing and then we'll do our taste test?
So, during quarantine, and we wanted to talk about this last week, but we were tired.
And it just went on.
And it just went on for a long time.
Which I will tell you, I got a little nerdy about Under Oath and talked a lot about it.
That's okay.
I will put the blame on myself.
I mean, honestly, it's okay because like I didn't have anything else to talk about, so this is just like whatever.
I had too much apparently.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
So this past week I watched the iDubbbz interview with Anthony Padilla. It's technically not even like a podcast. It's just like it's like a talk show almost.
Yeah.
And like it's not like a Jimmy Fallon type talk show, but it is like he'll ask interview questions. And like he gets into like iDubbbz past, like where he grew up. His dad was in jail for a long time. Which also kind of made me put some pieces together from our past visitor with Skinner.
I was just thinking about that too. I always forget about that.
Yeah, that was something
weird.
that like I was putting together in my head, and I was like, huh.
You're like, I know a little bit about this too.
Yeah. So like, okay, I see how this works out, and he talked about.
No offense to Skinner on that, by the way.
No. I think it's really cool that it's just that small of a world.
Yeah. What was his dad in prison for?
I don't know, but he was in there for like he came in until like he was like 10 or 11 or something like that. So. For like the first 10 years of his life, didn't have a dad.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so, and he talked about like coming to grips with like is either past trauma or like becoming like a softie basically because of boxing. Because he was like like the way that boxing coaches are is just that they're very like they're not very PC for lack of a better word, and he was like, well, I don't want to be like, oh, don't hurt me kind of thing. He's like, I just have to fucking man up. And he's like, but that's also helped me with like just becoming a soft person. And he attributed a lot of like going to, I think he's been to therapy, or his wife told him to go to therapy, or
girlfriend, I think.
No, they're married.
They're married?
Yeah,
oh
married.
Shit, I didn't even know
that. He attributed a lot of the work that went into the Creator Clash. To her, and like the first one, he said that like there were some major problems, and he said that there was that short inventor guy, not Michael Osmond, but his friend Michael something.
Yep, know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and like he said that he felt bad for him because he like didn't give him like enough training or enough time to like prepare for it. Like I think it was like a couple months maybe. But this time they gave him like a year of like prep and like asking him to do it, and then like
right.
And he was like he attributed that like he didn't get like a boxing coach for everybody, and like he was like but this time his wife made sure that that every single person gets a boxing coach and like has lessons and like goes to him. And
I've heard, so I heard them, Ian and Anissa, iDubbbz and his wife Anissa. Came on to the H3 podcast last year before the Creator Clash, and then they just came on last month to promote this upcoming Creator Clash.
Yeah,
and like even the first one, they're like very serious about it.
Yeah,
like it's not like a joke boxing thing. To them. Like it's like a serious.
Yeah,
thing.
and he
Which
said
is
that.
Cool.
Yeah,
and
he said like, he's like boxing is like he's like I really do want to make more videos. But like I can't, like boxing is like my other job. Like he's like I can't, I don't have time with like prepping for boxing lessons, training for it, and wanting to make a video. He's like I'd love to. He's like I really would like to go back to doing videos, but I just can't do it with the boxing.
Right.
So maybe afterwards, but I even missed this video. But he made like a 3D printed Thanos like pimple popper video.
I didn't see that.
Me neither. I don't know what channel that was on, but he mentioned it during this interview.
Yeah.
I feel like there were probably some other topics that they could have gone into, but I think it was an hour-long interview that they cut down to like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw that it was cut.
So I think that they got it. Go watch it. They have some really good moments in there. But one of the things that stuck out to me was that, and this is something that's kind of gained traction, was iDubbbz mentioning that that his humor attracted really weird people.
Do you want me to go and play?
Yeah, go ahead and play the clip.
It's really short.
Yeah.
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with that just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were very much like antisocial, weird basement dwellers. You know, the one time a month that they come out of their cave and they run into me, their favorite YouTuber.
And what would they say? What would they do?
Things that I am certainly not going to repeat. I'm talking bad words.
Words that we only say by describing the first letter?
Yeah, exactly. Man, what a powerful way of putting it. I did not like the interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which is...
I think there's a lot to unpack there, and I think Anthony even said that like there's a lot. But I think the reason he said that is because he's matured as a human being, and that his audience did not mature with him. And I think there was also like that sense of like just like there was, especially during like COVID, whenever it came out that his wife had an OnlyFans, there was that like grinding of like people realized that, oh, he's not this like right wing nut job that says the N word any chance he gets as like a shock factor, or saying
They're calling him a simp
the
and
N word and then F word, F slur, like literally calling every single person that in the comments and stuff like he just say that to his fans, but like it was I think during that time it was like whenever he was like, okay, I'm like, he stepped out of the spotlight for a while and then he stepped back in and he's like, I'm this different person now, and people were like, oh yeah, also your wife has an OnlyFans and you're weird
and you're a simp.
Yeah, and you're a simp. Yeah, and you're a simp and you're a cuck.
I remember watching something like you said around quarantine time. I think he was streaming a lot, and people were like, and I think the clip was something like, iDubbbz goes off on fans for calling him a simp, and it was like he wasn't going off. It was just him being like,
yeah, dude,
you people are fucking idiots.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
and like, you know, like kind of what he was doing in this clip where he was like, you people just suck. Like, you guys suck. I don't like any of you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that, and people were like, oh, well, it's his fault that all this shit happened, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and
right.
They're like, you can't, it's hard to measure how much an effect someone has on an audience until that person completely pivots of what they want to do.
Right.
Or what they're doing. Like their content cop. And he even mentioned this in the interview, was that it's like, you know, his content cop stuff was just beating up on people.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he wishes that, and even Anthony chimes in on his own way of this happening, but he mentions that, you know, it sucks looking back on it to like beat up on one person. Like he's like, it just sucks to like make this content where I beat up on a guy. Right. And he's like, if I had, and I think he said like one video, I don't remember what it was, but he's like, if there was one video I wish I had never made, it was one of the content cop videos.
Oh, interesting.
Don't remember what it was, but Anthony Padilla said that he made Anthony Padilla said he made one about like Logan Paul or Jake Paul, and he's like, I didn't even know Anthony Padilla. I knew Anthony Padilla had stripped off from Smosh a while ago, but I didn't even think to look at like his actual own stuff for a long time. But he makes stuff all the time. Evidently, I thought it was like every once in a while, but he makes it like weekly.
I know he's done the show for a while.
Yeah,
but that's all I know.
So he mentioned that like he wishes that he never mentioned it, because it was like, why am I doing, like afterwards he was like, why did I even do that? Right. And I think that's just like something that it's just like that's just the culture. That was the culture around YouTube, was just
especially
finding someone that was shitty and then making fun of them and like, you know, I think even they mentioned Keemstar's name in this, is they're like, you know, like I don't even talk to Keemstar and I have beef with him.
Right.
Like they even mentioned that like this, if there's anybody that should be made fun of, it should be Keemstar.
Right. Which that I was gonna say, if there's one content cop that was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Was the
and that's what
one.
I think he says. Like, I'm totally fine with the Keemstar.
Oh,
one.
good.
Like, I do not give a fuck. Like,
Good.
but it was really interesting to see kind of like a softer, more candid version of iDubbbz than like a scripted either mail opening or content cop or Even the squirrel rescuing thing that he
Oh
did.
yeah, I forgot all about that.
I loved watching those.
I did too.
Those were really interesting. I
Yeah.
loved watching because he's got like a huge property in
right.
Hollywood Hills or whatever. But like that's huge. But yeah, I think he's a fascinating character.
Yeah, and it was in kind of maybe a little backstory about like where we come in on this, which like obviously no involvement in any of it, but to bring ourselves into it, we've been fans of iDubbbz for pretty long time, you know,
Yeah,
since
probably
like early high school.
Yeah, I kind of reached I'd say like 7th, 8th grade was really like peak for me.
That early? Really?
Yeah, because it was like that was whenever I learned about it. But then like by the time I figured out Filthy Frank and stuff like that, I was towards the end of Filthy Frank's like run.
Right.
It was like one of the last videos he ever posted was of like one of the ones I had ever like first ones I ever seen. And like you put me on to Filthy Frank, and like I think like a couple other people in band put me onto it. But it was like a band kid thing almost to be in on iDubbbz and stuff like that.
Because hair cake was whenever I got in.
Yeah, and also
iDubbbz.
Max Mofo was Max Mofo was one that I also had heard of before, but I was like, I don't know what he does. And then for a while, he did Pokemon cards videos, and
Dude,
I'm like,
I was so into watching those.
I did not watch
reason.
those. I'm like, I'm gonna get as far away from that because I had a problem with buying Pokemon cards.
Oh,
like,
really?
In like early middle school, I was like, because we went to Burger King every week whenever they had like the Pokemon promo stuff. So we're like, oh, we have all these cards now. Let's go get some more.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's an addiction.
Yeah,
but
then I did it with NBA cards later. But.
Now you do it with virtual NBA cards.
Yeah.
I brought that up to say that like we were fans during. To just be honest, we were fans during that time where he was saying terrible stuff.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I'll just
and I didn't have a guilty conscience about it. I definitely watched it and I was like, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it was a weird line, and also, you know, we're talking about being 15, 14, 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think at the time that hearing terrible slurs would, even at that age, you'd be like questioning it.
Right.
But really, you don't, because you're stupid and you're young.
Yeah.
And I don't even think at the time we had ever had a thought in our brain that he was saying that because he hates black people or he hates gay people. We were just like, oh, he is saying the worst possible thing you can.
Yeah.
And that's funny.
Yeah.
Not thinking about the consequences of what's being said.
It was like the edgy humor that like I think kind of just aged itself out of culture completely.
Fuck it did.
Well, like that's the thing is that we went down the same path that iDubbbz did in terms of like maturity, learning, and like enlightenment kind of thing that like iDubbbz has went down.
Right.
But I think there are people that went the opposite route.
Yeah.
So like I've seen like a lot of TikToks are like, you know, seeing the or like watching iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, Max Mofo to alt-right pipeline.
Yep.
And that was it's like a continuous joke that always shows up on TikTok all the time. But like I never, to be honest with you, I never got those videos recommended to me in any way. It was
alt-right things?
Alt-right stuff.
Yeah,
I never got them.
Yeah, I don't
think even
either,
then
I would have considered myself conservative at the time.
Right.
You know, again, a fucking 15-year-old kid.
That
I mean, just goes to show, if you would have shown me talking about the things I've talked about on this show when I was 15, I would have been like, or at, 15, for whatever the time was, I would have been like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, what is even going on? Like, I wouldn't even comprehend that I could think that way or have certain thoughts about specific things in that way, just because like, just what I was surrounded by was what I grew up in. I didn't learn to think for myself until like college.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's the thing is that I guess it's just part of just really a part of growing up. And I think that the audience that he runs into are the even honestly to an extent, even like the Airsoft Fatty stuff kind of felt like disingenuous, where it was like making fun of to an extent, but it was also like taking advantage of, but it was also like just informing that like this creator exists and like he's really funny. Yeah,
and now he brings them around as like, and I think that was I feel like doing the Dax Flame show.
Yeah.
And bringing Airsoft Fatty into it and stuff like that, and keeping those guys around, to me seems like I don't think it's wrong at all, but I think maybe as a part of like Ian's guilty conscience of like, you know, I don't think he necessarily took advantage of those guys, but maybe it was during a time where he was like not sure if he wanted to keep going the route of like finding these weird characters and making things about them, or if he wanted to like move out of that. And so now he's like kind of has a little bit of a guilty conscience where he's like, no, I should keep these guys around and like keep them like getting money because like otherwise it feels really disingenuous of me making this thing about like that really boils down to how weird they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just to say it.
And just I think whenever he's talking about his fans, I think it's just that like some people just really glom on to certain videos, and
they don't let it go,
and they never let it go.
No,
it's never something that is ever thought that it just. There's people that like watch, you know, YouTube documentaries to fall asleep and stuff like that, and they just fall asleep to those ones or whatever, and they're like, these are like my comfort videos or whatever. I watch whatever they put out newest and then just go from there. I don't go back and find the really funny video. I find every once in a while I'll go back and be like, oh yeah, this was a funny video that, you know, affected a certain part of my childhood. But like you just grow up past it, you know what I mean? But I feel like some of his audience was just like, this is him forever for me.
Right. And I feel, and a part of me feels like that was really funny at that time. And obviously, like, thinking back on it, like I just kind of mentioned, I'm like, it's not that I regret watching it or I regret enjoying it. It's just like, oh man, I wish I thought of that differently, or I wish I had more of like a different brain way of
and even then like
that.
you would have to be older, you know.
That's the thing, is like I think if I saw that, even if it was like that, like say it was like 2014 or whenever Hair Cake came out, and I was 20.
What was it, the Twister?
Yeah, and
that was a big video too.
And I was 22 watching that during that time. I definitely would have had a different thought about it, and I would have been like, what the fuck is this? Why is this like, sure, maybe there's funny stuff in it, but like there's really not a reason for him to be saying that kind of stuff.
Right.
And like, and then it's
not like he's taking them down either. You can go watch them, but like,
no. And I don't think we need to, I don't
dwell
want
on it.
Yeah. I don't want to come
call out.
I don't want to come across as like
holier than thou.
Yeah. I need to be forgiven of what I've done.
Yeah.
But I'm just bringing it up as like, it was interesting.
It was
like,
a time
why
piece.
did we find? Yeah, why did we find it funny?
It was a
then?
timepiece. I think a lot of people in middle school and just in that like, for lack of a better word, like cringy band shit, like band kids.
I think anybody will know what that.
Yeah,
that
like
means.
like that, you know. But like just like that type of humor. That's just a timepiece.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like, you know, if you know, like there's videos of people in band now, like band kids in high school now that say cringy shit. It's definitely not cringy to them now. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't for us whenever we were in high school.
Right.
You know, like that was just it. You know, that's just the humor, and you just evolve. And I think it's good that Anthony too, I guess to an extent. But Ian also learned from his past mistakes and you know, understands that. I think a lot of people on the internet just need to understand that you can grow and learn as a person.
For sure.
Like, especially after not saying or doing anything with that type of content in years, like separating yourself from that entirely as a person, also as a creator.
Right.
And people were like, oh, fuck you for doing that. Fuck you for like trying to disenfranchise your fans or whatever. But it's like, okay, like he's going to get new ones. You know what I mean? Like he'll get new ones.
And he has.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing is like, I was kind of thinking about it just now when I was like, I was trying to decide whether I'm like upset that triggered so many maybe people who weren't far right leaning to become far right leaning, or like added fuel to their fire and made it seem like it was mainstream to say that stuff, which it did, unfortunately. But I think what it boils down to is that shit would have happened regardless, whether it was Ian, Filthy Frank, Max, whoever, any of those guys, it would have been somebody else doing it. And what I think, why I'm in a weird way, happy that it was Ian and those guys, especially Joji, who's like completely moved on from that.
Yeah.
And even Max, to an extent, I think Max kind of still
he still has cold
dabbles.
ones.
Yeah, cold ones, and that guy, anything for views, he's still kind of I don't know. I don't know much about him. I've just heard that he's still a questionable character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even then, they've kind of moved on from it. But I think if you're going to pick a group of guys, especially Ian, to be the ones who did do that, and maybe regretfully so for themselves, but I'm glad that they were the ones to do it, because now they've changed and they can show, hey, listen, like, it was bad that we did that, but it was jokes, and we're now different, and we can move on, and let's progress and not dwell on that, because like that was not our intent.
It's almost like the opposite of like a failed actor turned right wing or something like that.
Right.
It's almost the opposite of that. It's like it's you get people who get canceled or whatever, then they're like, sure. I'm going full right wing now. It's almost like the opposite.
Well, and none of those guys were right wing at that time.
No.
Like, they weren't spewing right wing shit.
Yeah.
They were just saying things that right wing people were like, oh, that's funny, and I could say that too.
That's my kind of thing.
But like, even people like you from your background, and like other people who I know are from different backgrounds as I was, thought it was funny too.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that like
together.
It had a certain aspect of it that those right wing, far right people really were like.
It brought him to 4chan almost, like for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Or for any other reference, like there was I just remember this, but like Tumblr versus 4chan was like a big thing. I was on Tumblr during that time, so that was a big thing. But like that like I've had discussions at school because we have to, but it's also like cultural sensitivity training.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just, it's fine because I like having these conversations. But
I think it's
like
important.
the BLM movement and Michael Brown stuff was like a really big reason of why people even started to have like a kind of like open mind about things, or even the opposite effect of closed minds.
Right. Right.
That
and that's a good point.
That like there was just that like major like cultural shift.
Yep.
And also the Me Too movement was just a big cultural shift in that time. That was like, yeah, maybe we just don't talk about those things anymore.
Right.
Or like don't say those words anymore. Don't talk bad about women. Don't talk bad about colored
right.
people.
Exactly. And I think that's even more important to say, because like I also don't want to put this all on Ian or anything like
absolutely
that,
not.
Because like you're right, it was just a big cultural movement when that was happening at the same time.
Absolutely repeatedly came up in conversations in the past 3 years of doing it, or 2 years of doing it, is just that Black Lives Matter movement was just a really big cultural movement that
for sure
changed the course of pop culture
on both sides.
Both digital and political.
On the far sides of both.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
and also just
truly.
and like I said, like digital footprint too.
Right.
So,
absolutely. But yeah, no, I think
brings a different perspective to things. I think it's interesting that he spoke on it, because
some
creators would probably just be like, whatever, it happened, whatever, I don't care.
Right. And I think he's spoken about it on the past. I think this is just the biggest platform he had spoken about it on.
And it going viral on Anthony Padilla's TikTok shorts and Instagram.
Which
Reels.
is great.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
because
the way you do it now.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing too, is to like, because maybe there are still a lot of people who don't know that this guy isn't a terrible person.
And that was also the thing is, I noticed that some people were like, they're like, okay, like, was he ever that popular?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I saw a couple tweets that are like, okay, why are people mad about this? He wasn't even that fucking popular.
Right. To them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like, okay.
Yeah. And one last thing, and then I'll move on from it. Whatever else you need to say.
Keep going.
Is that I'm not going to get too far into the weeds of this, but before, I think it was before last week's episode, or maybe the week before, we had brought up South Park. Somehow South Park got brought up, and then I brought up about like what I hate about South Park, because I'm not a big fan. I honestly just don't like the show in general, but I also don't like it because of the fact that there are too many people, and we'll just say on the right or far right, for lack of a better term, who watch South Park and go, "Oh, I can make those jokes too," or like those jokes are okay, and it's like they don't realize it's satire, and they don't realize that actually they are the butt of the joke. Yeah. And that's kind of how this iDubbbz thing was. It's like he is saying these terrible words, but also like he is making fun of those terrible people at the same time, maybe just not so outwardly.
Right.
And that's what it leads to, is just like, it just leads to people falling into the trap of like, oh no, this is real. You know what I mean? And part of me, like, part of me hates that it's that way, because like I like making satirical comedy. I like watching satirical comedy.
Right.
I just think there's a certain line that shouldn't be crossed anymore. And especially, and like Ian, of course, obviously crossed that. In my opinion, I feel like South Park crosses that. You can have your own opinion on that if you want. I know plenty of people from both sides who like it, who love that show. But yeah, I just think I think we're realizing that, you know,
there's literally two sides to every satire.
Yeah.
Like literally it's up to interpretation for a lot of people.
Course.
So like, you know, take whatever you want from it, but I think most people would probably think of the more political correct side of things whenever they're making a joke.
Yeah, right, exactly. At least that's always
That's a hope.
That's the hope.
Otherwise, you just have people like Matt Walsh walk around telling people what to do.
And by the way, what a good guy.
Yeah.
We stand Matt Walsh over here.
Uh-huh.
Why don't let's move into our taste test segment real quick, and then we can fire off the other topics real fast if you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to play a little track here. Let's just find one. Or taste test music. I don't like that music. So I went to Walmart. Oh, let's do this one first. So
last week Carson had mentioned that Yuengling is in Missouri. So
that's right, migrated.
I wanted to taste it. He's got so much. He's got like a whole fucking cupboard full of it. Put it back in the cupboard.
Put it back in the cupboard.
He's got a wine cellar that we go down to, and I grabbed it.
I dug a hole in my apartment and they don't know about it.
Yeah. Don't come searching in that hole. So I wanted to try it with Carson. Carson's tried it before, but I've never had it. Of
course.
I've had the Hershey's one.
Right, that's what I was going to bring
up. But I haven't had like the regular lager.
I already talked about it last week, but yeah, I fell in love with Yuengling. I think it was back kind of recently, because like I had tried it a long time ago when I was on a Florida vacation with my dad. Like one of the first beers I'd ever tried. I'm like, this is fucking gross.
I kind of want to try it.
But I didn't realize I loved it so much.
It kind of tastes like Coors.
A better Coors.
It tastes exactly the same.
I don't think I've had a regular Coors, to be completely honest.
We had those Coors.
Coors Light.
Oh, those Coors Light? It tastes like Coors Light to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Coors Light tastes like water to me.
That's what this tastes like to me.
Oh, really? I feel like this tastes good. It's got like enough bite to it for me.
Yeah, it's not horrible at all.
But I realized that I really like this beer a lot kind of recently when I was in Arkansas.
It's kind of like a breadier beer.
Right. Which I usually wouldn't like. And I don't think I usually like lagers, but yeah, I had some down there and I was like, fuck, I actually really like this way more than I thought I did. And then it was funny because whenever I left Arkansas that day, it was a Sunday, and I went to a gas station to buy a pack of Yuengling, only to realize that they don't sell alcohol anywhere in Arkansas on a Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We tried to. My friend has a lake house in northwestern Arkansas. Kind of like by the Lake of the Ozarks. There's that other lake that's kind of off of it. I forgot the name of the lake. But anyway, they have a house there. And I remember I was trying to find alcohol. And we're like, oh, wait, it's like Sunday. We can't.
Yeah. And then it was funny. I could have bought it because the gas station attendant was like, go down to this liquor store down the street. They have a drive-through that you can buy alcohol in. I did drive down there, but the drive-through was so long. So somehow there must be a law that like drive-throughs can sell liquor.
Well, you know,
beer.
Driving and beer goes together like peanut butter and jelly.
Like fine wine and ham. So
operating heavy machinery and alcohol go together.
Operating heavy machinery.
Also, that's one thing I realized. Yeah, it's not that bad at all.
You can tell me honestly.
I like it. I think I wouldn't order it. I'd still order like a Guinness or like a stout.
Yeah. If you're going out somewhere, you're not getting
And if I want a cheap beer and they have Yuengling, and I'm going to take Yuengling over like Bud Light, you know, any seltzer.
Oh yeah.
I will definitely take this over a seltzer.
I still think I'm a heavy Bud guy until I die. regular Budweiser. Somebody told me it was called Heavy Budweiser. Like that was what they would call. No, Budweiser, like regular Budweiser.
Oh,
they
really?
would call heavy.
I still
And,
can't
like,
go
I
the
say
first
that
time
to-
I bought it. It tastes like cigarettes in a bar to me.
I say Heavy Budweiser to people, and they look at me funny, like you just did. And I was like,
Heavy Budweiser. I didn't even think about that.
I know they would call Bud Heavy. Is that what I already said? Yeah, Bud Heavy is what I heard somebody call it, and that always stuck in my head.
I didn't know there was a difference between. I thought Bud Light. I didn't honestly. I
Well,
didn't
there's
even think
Bud Light and then Budweiser.
Yeah.
Right, and Budweiser was what I always heard was called Bud
honestly
Heavy.
didn't even think that like Bud Light tasted that different than Budweiser.
Oh, I think it does, in my opinion.
There's like a lighter. There's just like tastes like water.
Yeah, it's the Coors Light thing. But yeah, I still think I'm a regular Budweiser guy over this, but I do really like Yingling.
So our second,
I went to Walmart earlier while you guys were here watching the game, which we'll talk about. And it's been in the news recently. MrBeast has been in the news because he tweeted. Did you see the tweet about the chocolate bars?
Yeah. He's
In
like, hey, can you
Walmart-
guys like fix all the displays for Feastables
Right.
chocolate bars?
Which is a whole nother thing. Everybody's beating it to death.
Yeah,
so
that was. I was not expecting that much fucking outrage over
yeah,
it.
it was very funny.
It was
but it's
funny.
Like,
it was
been,
funny. The outrage was funny just because
Yeah.
people were making jokes about it. And they're like, fuck you. And then there was a guy that like went and like broke all the candy bars. And he's
Yeah.
like, fuck you.
and it's being beaten to death by people, and it's everything's funny about it, but like nothing that we really need to get into. But I've been seeing the chocolate bars at our local Walmart for quite a long time, and then I'd also known about the cookies
I didn't even know about the cookies.
for a long time, but I'd never seen the cookies, and I'd been looking for the cookies because, bringing it back to the H3 podcast again, they had tried the chocolate and the cookies at one point, and they
double fisted. They went, "Ow."
yeah.
Ow.
And they all said that the chocolate bars were terrible, but the cookies were like insanely good.
Really?
So I have not tried the chocolate because even beyond that, I've heard everybody say that the chocolate is bad. But I had been looking for the cookies because
We gotta try.
at least they said they were really good.
We gotta try. Speaking of other content creators, we gotta try Logan Paul's like Prime or whatever.
Dude, yeah, it's
Because
so
like
funny.
it sells out all the fucking time in the UK. There's videos
But
of
it's,
people
like,
being
everywhere
like,
here.
yeah, I know it's like completely fully stocked in the United States. But like
I'll get it next
over
time.
there because they're like, I didn't even know that he even had like a sports drink that
Oh,
was
really?
like coming out. But
Official UFC sponsor now.
yeah, it is. Which honestly, I mean, that's pretty huge. Just
Yeah,
to
fuck
have like
yeah.
someone on you like that. I mean, I'm not a big Logan Paul fan or a big
No.
Jake Paul fan, but like that's huge.
Well, you
I
know
mean,
it's
I
Logan-
gotta commend them that they do a good job with that.
It's Logan Paul and KSI's
Really?
drink. I believe
Really?
so. I believe so.
I mean, I like watching their boxing matches. It was bootleg, but I watched it.
They were the guys who, pioneered the YouTube boxer thing. I mean, Creator Clash probably
Yeah.
would not have been a thing without
Yeah.
it. So, gotta
So,
hand them
We have MrBeast pastel. Pastel
love the
blue.
packaging.
I actually really do like the packaging.
that. I do.
I think.
MrBeast.
So we're just gonna go ahead and try Feastables.
Now, I want you to read some of those things on the front.
Yeah.
Because it gets very interesting.
Feastables, MrBeast cookies, chocolate chip, plant-based, gluten-free. Net weight.
Now, that is interesting to me.
Net
Okay,
weight
that's-
6 ounces,
No, I
170
think
grams.
we'll be good on the.
And then on the
brand.
back
Oh,
it says
okay,
more
yeah.
noms, more prizes, more beast. No GMO ingredients with genetically modified
Genetically-
organisms.
Do you think there's some of MrBeast's seed in those cookies?
No high fructose corn syrup, no artificial flavorings, and no hydrogenated oils.
I think it's really cool that they're plant-based and gluten-free.
That's
How many carbohydrates? I bet you it's still fucking crazy.
20
That's still pretty. That's not well. Honestly, it's not terrible.
for 2 cookies. So each cookie's 10.
That's not terrible.
That's
There's
pretty
worse.
Yeah, there are worse.
I mean, like sugary candy is like
It's got a lot of sodium.
fucking.
It's got 95 milligrams of sodium.
I don't pay attention to sodium. Carbohydrates. Is what
That's
I
got more than a
focus
can of soda in terms of sodium.
on. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But carbohydrates compared to soda, how much carbohydrates is in your soda?
40.
Yeah. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Anyway.
So, anyways, I pay attention to carbohydrates because I think that's like a big. First of all, I love carbohydrates. I mean,
It's a
come
silent
on.
killer.
I love them, but like for me, my metabolism is so unbelievably slow that like I have to eat a low carbohydrate diet.
They kind of look like Famous Amos, just right off the bat.
But they seem like they'd be chewier to me. Maybe they're not.
This is actually 2 cookies here, but
okay.
they smell like Famous Amos to me.
Yeah, you're right. They do kind of look like them, but plant-based, gluten-free. All right, let's do it.
I have 2 here, so I'm just gonna jump
Alright.
into it.
Definitely salty, which I like.
Kind of wish they were a little bit crunchier, but that's just me.
That's probably because they're plant-based. Like, legitimately. Just like, they gotten it really close to like resembling like a similar texture to like a dough that would bake. But like, it's still not there to quite that, like, it doesn't quite hold up. It's more of like a crumbly than a crunch.
Not the best cookie I've had. I still think Famous Amos is one of the best.
I kind of like him better than we were talking about it before, and I'm not a huge Famous Amos fan. I'm not a huge fan of just like mass-produced cookies in general.
Yeah, no, me neither. But like,
Right.
In terms of mass-produced cookies,
I was just seeing because I was like excited that they were plant-based, but then I was like, does that mean they're vegan? And I'm not seeing anywhere. I'm not seeing any like.
maybe the chocolate chips aren't.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any. Yeah, it says chocolate chip, sugar, unsweetened chocolate, cocoa butter. No, I don't. I'm not seeing milk or anything. Evaporated cane sugar. So I don't know why they wouldn't put vegan. So, but maybe they're still not. I don't know.
There's probably a requirement you have to meet too. Like
Right, that could be true.
And they didn't miss.
But maybe they still are. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that's But yeah, you're right. Very Famous Amos. Oh, I need to restart the camera.
They look like Famous Amos.
Yeah. I like them. Would I go buy these again, though? No. Because, I just don't like mass-produced cookies. I love cookies, but, like, I got to get them fresh. Like, I can buy the, like, grocery store packaged ones.
Right.
Those are good.
Yeah.
But, like, nothing compares to, like, a fresh guy.
Where do you get your fresh cookies?
Mm.
I mean, I kind of like the frozen ones too. I
Yeah.
like the frozen ones they put out. Pillsbury.
I don't know. I'm kind of picky about my cookies, honestly. Like I like the insomnia or like the
Oh yeah, okay,
those kind are good.
Hot box.
Yeah, but they're still
Hot
not
box is
like
good.
I've had better cookies from other like the fresh, which I'm assuming are frozen that you heat up, like Otis Spunkmeyer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The ones we had in high school?
Yeah, but like
The good ones?
before Michelle Obama ruined it.
Right.
Like the ones we had in middle school. Like those ones where they're just so soft and like
melty,
just so buttery. Like there's got to be so much fucking butter in it.
Lard.
Like those are like so good. Like even if they're like a couple hours old. Like that's like fresh for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, I've heard the chocolate is just too sweet from people that said the chocolate bars. But yeah, cool. Thank you, MrBeast. Thanks for sending that to us.
Yeah.
All the way to Walmart. So, Gavin.
So the big news that was supposed to happen today was that Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, or as some people like to call President Donald Trump.
I do.
Was supposed to be arrested today because he was going on like these fucking crazy ass rants on Truth Social. Total boomer posting. Just full caps, ranting about anything that came to mind, posting before things were completely published, before they were done. I think he posted a truth too soon, and then just instead of writing anything else, just posted a picture of Ron DeSantis at the high school party or whatever. Again.
What the fuck?
He's so weird, but
Certainly is.
and people were like, oh yeah, like New York Police Department was putting up barricades. The Donald Trump airplane was getting ready in Florida. Like it looked like he was going to go to New York to get arrested or whatever. But doesn't look like it happened. I think they were supposed to, like, people were really hoping for it. There were these fake AI generated, like him running away from police officers.
Which
like
really funny.
It looks. I will say that those look pretty fucking good.
They fixed the hands.
They fixed the hands. I think he was using like a different, like something W, start with a W, and it was 5. It was like the 5th engine or whatever, and it looked pretty good, except for like one of them that looks like he has like a holster on and has a third leg literally coming out of his body. So
still got a lot to fix.
Yeah, still got some things to fix, but. Yeah, it was basically that he was paying Michael Cohen, his lawyer, allegedly paying him and paying Stormy Daniels with what could have been considered campaign funds.
Right.
At that time. So that's illegal. You can't do that. So they're like, we're going to get you on that. And he was paying hush money
finally got
to
something.
Yeah. He was paying hush money to Stormy Daniels through Michael Cohen but with campaign funds. And that's really the big thing. And so people were like, and the way Donald Trump was talking, it sounded like it was going to happen. Like it was like,
well, because he said that he's going to be arrested.
Yeah. He's like, I'm
right?
going to, I don't know.
I don't know. Because that's what headlines are saying.
Yeah. It was just weird. But again,
Trump says he expects to be arrested Tuesday.
But this is like this guy I watch Internet Today, Elliot ETC on Twitter. In the video, he's like, I won't believe until I see him literally in handcuffs. So again, you can say how many times Trump's going to be arrested. People say it was going to happen with the Mueller report. Yep. People said it was going to happen after January 6th. People said it was going to be during the January 6th hearings. People said it was going to happen during the Mar-a-Lago raids. People said it was going to be during the document raids. People said it was going to be, there's probably been 15 times in the past 6 years that's supposed to happen, but it hasn't. And
that's why I like.
It was supposed to happen during his first impeachment. It was supposed to happen during his second impeachment. You know what I mean? But like,
that's why I kind of laugh at people who are like, "Oh yes, it's finally happening,
it's finally happening."
Because I'm like, at this point, it's like,
I think there's a tweet from
who cares? Like, it's just like
there's like a tweet from like 2016 where it's like, "No way, Trump's gonna get out of this one," and it's like Trump gets out of this one.
Gets out of everything because of all of his patsies. So it's just it's just comical.
It was funny because like one of his posts was like, he's like, they're going to arrest me. They called me Man of the Year in 2016. They endorsed my 2016 election, and one of his truths, and it's like, dude, they have to do their fucking job. They're not going to be like, oh, sorry, Mr. President, we endorsed you. That means we can't arrest you.
I'm sorry.
It's like, but that's what I call them, New York's finest. They do their job.
But they're the NYPD's barricading things and like setting up like
bizarre,
bunch
just
of
weird
stuff.
behavior.
So obviously something's going on.
Something was supposed to happen or is going to happen, but again,
Tuesday's almost over and I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah. So,
oh well.
I mean, I'm gonna be bending over backwards doing backflips whenever I hear him arrested.
Yahoo!
I mean, of course it's gonna be funny and I'm gonna be.
And then
about it, but
every person on the right is gonna have Donald Trump's booking photo as their profile picture.
Right. Well, it's so funny because like it's so bizarre. And again, not to go too much into it, but like how many right wing and like I've only briefly looked at Twitter or at other places about this, and to see the reaction from the right saying like very left leaning things that they don't realize are, or that they probably do realize are, but they don't care because they're so far into their grift, where they're like, where they'll be like, oh, like the crooked NYPD, the crooked FBI, and then they're saying things like just things along that lines, but then also saying, fuck, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Shoot, what was it? Oh, I completely just lost it. But yeah, just like, the crooked FBI in their ways and like, and then like saying like,
defunding the police.
Yeah, like they won't go that far that I've seen, but they'll be like, the crooked court system and like, and then the other thing that I just remembered is that they were like, you can still run as president from prison. Like, he can still do everything from prison. Like, he's not done. Like, this is not the end of Trump, even if he gets arrested. And it's just like, wow, you guys.
It's also just a weird like left wing fantasy to be like, yeah, I want to see Donald Trump in handcuffs.
That's why I keep saying that. That's why I'm like
weird.
I just think it's so corny to be like actually like,
oh boy,
yeah, coming in your pants because this could be it this time. Oh boy,
oh boy.
So, anyways, anything else from you on that?
Nope.
Let's talk about WWE.
So the World Baseball Classic Championship was today. United States, or actually, Japan won last night, and United States won a couple nights ago. Japan won against Mexico, and United States won against Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
And tonight was the championship, and Japan has claimed its third world title.
We lost.
We lost. Even after Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber hit 2 bombs, it wasn't enough to overcome the 2 home runs and 1 like RBI single or whatever that ended up beating us. We just couldn't overcome it.
Yeah.
The pitching gave up too much, and the hitters weren't seeing very well. So
They had a lot of good pitchers.
they had a lot. Yeah,
They really did. They saved their best.
Yeah,
Towards the end for sure.
They had some really good pitchers, but
Smart playing, honestly.
Yeah,
saving the
and-
best for last in
yeah,
a weird way.
and Ohtani striking out Mike Trout was like was insane. Like
it was a glitch.
yeah, it
like
really
watching a
was. Yeah,
glitch.
really weird. But I think Ohtani said that like that's not the first time he struck him out. Like he's like I've done it before. He's like I
Right.
did it at the last World Baseball Classic. Like I'll and he's like I know my teammate.
Right.
But
So, Gavin, why is this year's is there a lot of money in the World Baseball Classic this year that people are finally now seeing it and hearing about it? Like,
no, I think
why
it's
is this the first year I'm hearing about it?
just being around baseball more. Like I'm involved in baseball now because I
Did
play
you
at
know
Mobile
about
Go.
it last year? Or
No,
the
it
year
doesn't
before?
happen every year.
Oh.
It happens every 3 years.
Oh.
So it's supposed to happen in 2020, but didn't due to circumstances, obviously outside of our control, COVID-19. And it happened in 2017. It happened in 2014, 2011.
That's why.
Yeah, 2009, 2006.
Yep.
So
All those years baseball was
yeah. So and like I didn't watch baseball. I was very touch and go with it. I was very like I'll check it every once in a while. I knew it was on the Cardinals at whatever time, but after
Sure.
like I didn't know like all their little moves that they were making. But
you knew
I think
this was a thing.
I knew that this was a thing. I was just kind of like, when is the next one? Because I was like, how much longer do I have to wait to see this whole thing?
Right.
Because Spencer was hyping it up too. So it's technically been 6 years since the last one.
Right. Which you
Um,
would think that would mean that there'd be a lot.
There was,
Yeah,
I will say
players.
that a lot of people online were like, it's really great seeing the United States people, like the United States players, buying into like the intensity of the games because it doesn't matter. Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
And like, it's just bragging rights. And like United States is like, yeah, we have the MLB. So, and like, but I think
But also to get
maybe
like,
looking forward, because they officially announced 2026 World Baseball Classic. Maybe looking forward, maybe we get more starting pitchers that are good. No offense to Adam Wainwright or Lance Lynn or our relief pitchers, but like maybe we get better starters. Jacob DeGrom,
Right.
Justin
That's what I was
Verlander.
saying,
Like
like,
we
you
need
know.
like the elite guys that are like
Elite.
really fucking good. It was, I don't know if you watched that play, but last night where Randy Rosarena robbed that home run and then he just like stared into the camera. Like it was so cool.
I don't think I did. I saw the walk-off that Japan got, but that was all I saw. Well, I mean, I guess I've seen some clips on Instagram of like people reposting
I'm
Goldschmidt
gonna
and
turn off the audio but
yeah, JAC.
yeah. Like this was
Takes
so
it
cool.
out.
Like no, he robs it
Catches it.
and then he just stares. I don't know
Give
why
me
they
the
keep cutting
stare,
it.
yeah.
I don't
Why
know
did
why
they
the
give it
fuck
the
they didn't.
stare?
Yeah, what the
Maybe
fuck?
they'll show it. They might show it towards the end.
Yeah, he just stares like
oh
that.
my god. That's
Like
scary.
That, yeah, like that is so cool.
Was that the third out, or why didn't he throw it back in?
Yeah, I think that was. I think it was. I don't.
Because they're all just
It
standing
was
there.
actually the
That's
second
so
out.
funny.
But like that's the thing is that the World Baseball
But then he
Classic
was on
isn't
face.
the World Baseball Classic wasn't gonna didn't throw out people for like showing too much emotion. Like I'm sure you
yeah.
saw in some of the pool games, but like the guys were like tearing off their shirts after like striking someone out, or like going fucking crazy after they strike somebody out, or like those things that like make baseball good.
Yeah.
That sometimes you will get thrown out of baseball games in the United States and the MLB for showing that type of emotion. If you were to do that and stood there like he did, he might have legitimately gotten thrown out because he didn't get the ball back in place soon enough.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like I'm glad the World Baseball Classic, and it's still under the MLB kind of umbrella, but like it's still overseen by the MLB.
Sure.
But like, or funded, I guess technically. But it was still really cool to see like the amount of emotion and buying in for the players during this year. That maybe wasn't there, but like the intensity was definitely there. That I think I wouldn't. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. I wouldn't have thought was possible.
Right.
I was just like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be whatever. You know what I mean? But
and even like I don't remember what team it was, but I know like their coach or their manager or whoever was some player that ended up going in and playing. Like,
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
That was
so like
weird.
just shit like that, like
goofy shit like that,
which is what I love. And then like also the thing I was just thinking about after you brought that up, because I didn't know all these things previously until now. Like thinking about like how I was like, why are they like? I feel like I've watched enough baseball games to know that most of the pitches are usually in the box. Like obviously there's going to be ones that go out, but like pitchers were going way inside and way outside, and that's probably just because they were just like trying new things and being eccentric.
Yeah,
and doing
like
stuff
it's
they
technically just spring training for these guys, like for the U.S. players.
Which I love that. Like again, I wish I would have known that previously, because then I think I would have actually enjoyed watching it more and understood more of what was happening. But yeah, that's fun. I
maybe an Aaron Judge comes around next time. I think Bryce Harper was supposed to be on there. Clayton Kershaw was supposed to happen, but he had to pull out. Nestor Cortez had something happen to him, so he had to pull out. I would love to see like the big names.
Yeah.
I think Tatis could play, and I think he did play in the World Baseball Classic, or no, he played in spring training, but because of his ban for using PEDs. He wasn't allowed to play in the World Baseball Classic, but he could during spring training. Really weird, but just weird rules there. But it was exciting, and I'm glad it happened. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
I'm glad we got to watch it. Yeah, we had a little watch party over here with Gavin and Gavin's brother Sean and Spencer, both friends of the show, and it was great. Even though I popped in to only watch a little bit of it, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoy what I watched. Now, Gavin, why don't we got a quick little next door drama, and then we'll do a quick little what you're listening to and get out of here. So, next door drama, if you don't know, folks, is a little segment we do pretty much every week. There's been a few that we've skipped, which is fine. But what it is we go to the infamous Nextdoor app, nextdoor.com, on your browser. And if you don't know what that is, it's a blog posting website for your neighborhood. Now, your neighborhood can expand up to a certain range, however far out you want it to go. I think mine's pretty tight, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a weird fucking place, mostly for weird Midwestern white moms to shit post absolute trash garbage. But there's always thousands and hundreds of comments on every post, and they always devolve into some weird shit. And we love it because we love weird old people or people who aren't equipped socially in whatever way, whether that's age or just being outcast, funny people. And what we do is we take a blog entry and take the comments, script it out, reenact it as if it was a dramatic reading, a dramatic situation that happened in real life. So this week's next door drama is titled "Cussed Out in the Drive-Thru." Now, I will be playing the character of Butch. Gavin will be playing Bonnie. And I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory once we get into it. So without further ado, I'm going to play the next door drama theme music, and then we're going to get right into it. A little quiet. This week on Next Door Drama.
I will never go back to Popeyes on Jungerman in 94 ever again. I was cussed out by the guy taking my order and the manager. If this happened at the drive-thru, I called corporate office to no avail.
I have to ask the question, though. What instigated the foul language towards you?
Valid question. I asked if they could. I could get. Valid question. I asked if I could just get drumsticks, and he said no. I then said, okay, just a minute. He came back on a few seconds later and asked in an irate tone, are you going to order? I asked, why are you being so rude? And from there it went.
Will, I will tell you that I or we will never go to the Salt Lick due to the service and the cussing from the window. Yes, it does happen. I do hate to say, apologies. I need to mind my business.
I had issues with the food on Salt Lick. Nobody cared. I have 47 email to corporate about it. They said, too bad, it's the franchisee's responsibility to refund me. He wouldn't even thought the chicken tenders tasted like jerky. $34. I've been going to that Popeyes on Jungerman in 94 forever. And
it's fine.
Totally fine.
I know
Because
people who have too.
like I honestly grew up with that Popeyes for I really did. And I know one of the managers there just because
Really?
we went there all the time. I recognize him. I'll know that much. I don't know him by name, but I
Right.
recognize him. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy that used to work the cash register. Now he's a manager, kind of thing. So
I was never a. You know what I just thought about? Was there ever a Popeyes over close to here? I won't say exactly where.
yeah, there was
A long time ago,
yeah,
right?
my mom told me about it. Now it's like a Clarkson Eye Care.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Dude, you can bleep that.
Nah, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a chain
Yeah.
anyway. So, I just had this weird memory of going
I don't know
there.
how long ago it was, but
I remember going there a long, long time ago with not my grandpa that just passed away, but the other one that passed away a while ago. A long, long time ago. And that, for some reason, that just popped in my head. Because I was thinking about
Maybe
if I ever went to Popeyes as a kid, and I
I'm not even sure
didn't.
that iPlace is there anymore, honestly.
It
is.
is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not a good location. For
Well,
an
that's where I
iPlace.
got these.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
These are Ray-Bans, by the way. Did you know that?
I had Polo for a couple years, and I broke them
Well,
from a Clarkson Eye Care.
well.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
cheap.
I wouldn't have gone there if it wasn't the first place I called and it was that close. Because my insurance at the other place I go to was not covered anymore. So they were like, "Yep, we take yours," and I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "I actually really like these."
Yeah.
So far, so good. These get really smudgy though. Kind of annoying. I don't know if it's I got the really high-end lenses.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And I don't think I did before, and I think these smudge really easily.
Probably.
But anyways, Popeyes. I had never gone to Popeyes as a kid, and I think that was one of the only times I'd ever gone to Popeyes.
Oh, we went.
And I think it's because it
weekend,
wasn't.
basically.
I think it was because that one closed down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then my family only went to restaurants that were nearby.
Yeah. My grandpa really liked.
I think I knew that.
Really liked their red beans and rice. So
Right,
we'd go
yeah.
there every Saturday. We'd work.
Nice.
Not like child labor work, but just we'd just bottle stuff.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
Family business.
Good Popeyes.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family.
I recommend going there. They have better Popeyes than the one over here.
If you guys are anywhere near, what was it, Jungerman and what?
94.
In 94.
Go to
in
that
St.
one.
Charles, Missouri.
Go there.
Go to that Popeyes. It's
good.
Gavin gives us a seal of approval.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's the snap.
The stamp of approval sounds like this. Oh, it's kind of quiet.
Sounds like this. Oh, I have my sound off.
Sounds like this. Or maybe this.
Or this. Or
this.
Or that's the seal of approval right there.
If there's one soundbite that nobody has in their soundboard out of all the podcasts I listen to with soundboards, nobody has the Chuck E. Cheese ticket muncher. I feel like that is like such an important part of my childhood that means so much to me, and I don't think it's as respected as it should be.
God, it's so weird.
It is so weird, but like, man, that sound, but like through a horrible, shitty speaker.
Yeah, and then you're putting tickets in.
It's
so
stuck
good.
in my brain.
So good.
Because you would hear that sound, because there's so many ticket machines that inside of the Chuck E. Cheese, you would it was like you would hear that 24/7 in the Chuck E. Cheese. You would never not be
and
hearing.
they had like one station for it. Like it was like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, in like one area.
Yeah.
And I like.
You want to go to Chuck E. Cheese?
Because just to see if that sound is still there. I gotta know.
I've seen behind the scenes videos of like the band. They only have like 3 of them now.
Right.
And like they still use floppy disks for them. And like Chuck E. Cheese is like, we're never getting rid of them. There was like a recent.
Yeah, that's
there was like a
awesome.
recent, or not getting rid of the band, but like never getting rid of floppy disks.
Oh, okay.
They're like, we're never getting rid of it. Because they're like, it's
we can't afford it.
Yeah, basically, they're like and they're like, this technology has like not failed us, so like, why would we upgrade it?
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
So
you know what's interesting? I feel like a lot of people were freaked out by the band as a kid.
Yeah,
I was not freaked out by the band, but I was horrified of
the ticket
actual of the actual Chucky. Actual Charles that would come out like just a fucking high school kid in a rat costume.
Yeah.
That for some reason that freaked me out, but the band did not. Even though the band is actually way scarier if you think about it.
I didn't really mind the band at all. I remember trying to get up on the stage and touching it.
Yeah, I think I remember that too. I remember like trying to reach over the bars and grab the big dinosaur's hand.
Yeah.
Good
Or
times.
the dog's nose or something like that.
Yeah.
The banjo
I forgot
playing
it was a
dog. So
Anyways.
Carson, what you listening to this week, Buggy?
Well, speaking of music, Gavin, I am so excited to talk about this album, even though I'm going to be kind of brief on it. I am recommending this week the brand new album. I would have to look up when it came out. Maybe you can look it up for me. Brand new album by the band Judiciary, which of course, if you know, is a hardcore band. I love hardcore music.
March 10th.
March 10th, yeah, so very recent. And it's called Flesh and Blood. And I had found out about Judiciary, I think it was around the pandemic. And their album before this, I liked watching some of their like live videos that Hate56 would post. And that's how I got into them, because of that. And I was like, yeah, they're good. They weren't one that I would really come back to very often. So that's why this album kind of just came out of nowhere. And like somebody had just like posted about it. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know they had it. Or actually, like whenever their singles were coming out, it was like one of their last singles they released that I was like, oh, let me listen to this. Singles were good. They weren't anything that was like amazing to me, at least. But when this album came out and I just played it and I just like, I fell in love. It's so good. Like so far, it has a spot on my top 5 of the year. Now it's only March, of course, but like it's up there.
My top 5 this year is going to suck.
Oh, yeah?
There's like not been that much this release this year.
It's only March. You got time. My favorite stuff was released like late in the year, but I also wasn't thinking about that like at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this album super well produced, which I think that was the problem, if I remember correctly, with their last album before this, is it was not produced very well. This one, production value was through the roof. So good. A lot of cool elements. Jesus Christ. Don't know what that was, but that scared me. A lot of cool elements in Judiciary's music, especially on this album, are that they use like guitar solos in hardcore music, which you don't really hear very often.
Yeah, not at all.
And usually my opinion on guitar solos is they're very dated.
Yeah.
They've kind of become very dated. But I feel
and
like
overdone with like the metal genre.
exactly. And that's my problem is that they're too fucking long. But Judiciary has found a way to implement guitar solos really quickly. And like almost in like what I would consider a mathcore way, but like they don't
like a 2-bar phrase of
yeah,
like,
exactly. Like just super
guitar
quick.
solo.
And it's super cool. And the one song I mean there's a few songs on here that I love, but the one song that like is the reason why this album has a a spot on my top 5 is the song Blood. Second song on the album. I haven't seen anybody specifically talking about this song. I'm not trying to act like I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm gatekeeping the song or anything, or like I was the first one who loved it. But like I just cannot believe how good of a song this is, and it's so heavy, and it's got such a cool lead up to the breakdown. And then the other thing I love about it is it's only a 2-minute long song, but it feels like it's way longer than that, but in a good way. But like it doesn't have like a breakdown and then like to like a chorus or a bridge or whatever, and then like the breakdown comes back. It only has the breakdown at the end, this like weird, I don't know if you what you call it, and then like a short like just 1-bar phrase of the breakdown and then it ends. Like it's just the perfect song to me. It's so good. I sent it to your brother and I forgot to ask him what he thought of it, but fucking hell, such a good song. I mean, like the rest of the album is great, but like if you're going to listen to something, listen to that song. Also, the song Cobalt is great. Stare Into the Sun, Steel Hand God. Or it's just a good album. It's just a really fun, different hardcore
I'll have to
album.
listen to it then.
You should, seriously. Especially that song Blood is just like, whoa, cowboys.
So this song, the song I'm recommending this week is just a song. Playing for Time, Dark Side Mix by Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel's been coming back with some new singles, coming out every new moon and moon, every full moon being the light side mix, and then every new moon, I think it's the dark side mix. Basically getting us to listen to the whole album before the album comes out, which is really cool.
I didn't actually realize that that's what was happening.
Yeah. So yeah, and so like he's had like 3 songs come out, and I'm like,
nice.
Very cool. So, and I'm interested to see how this will be like produced, mass produced in terms of like vinyl, because it'd be really cool if he had like an all black vinyl, like no sticker, just an all black vinyl with all of the dark side mixes, and then on the other disc would be all the light side mixes, and it's white.
That's cool.
That would be cool if he did something like that, just to have. But this song is called "Playing for Time," and it's I think. Honestly, I'm not a big like key noticer, like, oh, this is in the key of whatever. But I think this is in the same key as some Toy Story songs.
Right.
So it has that immediate like Randy Newman feel to me.
Yep.
And you had mentioned that before, but like it definitely has that like feel for it. I think it's a really good song. I like it. It's 6 minutes long, and it goes on a little too long, but it does have like a breakdown around like the 5.5 minute mark. So it's not awful, but it definitely tugs at the heartstrings, and it's a good song to listen to if you're just looking for something slow to play. So
it was funny because you had sent it to me really late at night while we were talking about music, and as we're both typing at the same time, and then we sent the text at the same time, and you sent it sounds like Toy Story music, and I said it sounds like a Randy Newman song at the exact same time.
It really does, and I think I said that to my dad, and
what does your dad think of it?
Oh, he likes it. He loves it.
Good.
He's like, he sent like the eye watering emoji, you know?
Oh,
yeah, he likes it. So I really like this song. So
yeah, it was
so
good.
far like the stuff he's putting out. We'll have to see the rest of the album. So
one of the few what you listen to is from Gavin that I've actually listened to prior to him recommending it.
Yeah, there you go.
That and Pearl Jam's 10.
Yeah. Even flow,
sitting by
butterfly. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to the It Takes All Kinds podcast, episode 107. Keep watching, keep sharing, keep referencing, keep rating, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep following our Instagram and our Twitters and our TikTok.
That's TikTok. Gotta try and be posted more than old TikTok, but we'll see.
So go ahead and Carson, anything else you'd like to say?
I want everybody who listens to this show to tell their best friend about the show and get them to listen to it, because we need more people to listen to it.
Goodbye, bye.